Well, Minecraft is changing, so I think it's about time for us to readdress our ender chests, especially with the new addition of bundles recently. So let's start things off by taking everything out of our ender chest, going over what works and what doesn't work. So I'm just going to take all this and I'm going to lay it all out on the ground. And of course, the only thing I'm going to leave in my ender chest is going to be the chicken head. This is integral to my live streams over on Twitch, so that's just going to live there for now. All right, now that we have all of our boxes laid out over here, let's go over exactly what I have inside my ender chest, starting off with this guy right here. These are all my backup pickaxes for when I do big digs throughout the world. That is my wither skeleton perimeter or my dwarven kingdom, whatever it may be. These are all my pickaxes. That way I don't have to go back and forth repairing the same pick. So we have all the fortune pickaxes up top. I would like to fill all these other additional spaces right here with more silk touch pickaxes being the most useful one. These are, of course, are all the silk touch pickaxes. Then I have my fortune shovels, which aren't that useful. And then we have the silk touch shovels right here. So we're not going to be filling that up today, but I will be filling that up in the future. But for now, that can go back in the ender chest. Next up, I have my immortalized box. So the immortalized box is a little bit more integral to my live streams, but there are a couple key components in here that you guys might find useful. Starting off with the trial chamber keys, the ominous key and the trial chamber key. Obviously, if I ever come across a trial chamber, I don't want to have to go all the way home in order to get my keys, so I keep them on me. Same thing goes with the ominous potions themselves. Then I have name tags. Anvils, of course, so I can actually utilize those name tags. I have maps if they ever come handy. It's nice to have every once in a while. Fish for taming any cats I see along the way. Leads and fence posts if I ever need to lead something up and fence post it for later. A bow, just in case there's a super rare mob that I see along the way. I'm just going to slap it in a bow, put a roof over its head. That way, if I have like a diamond mob and I want to bring it home, I can always come back later. We have a smithing table. The smithing table, if I ever just need to put trim on something real quick, whether it's for redemption or whatever. And then I have wheat if I ever need to lead any cows or anything like that. So that is the immortalized box. But now let's get into the things that are going to be a little bit more useful to you guys. So this is the gear box. This is where I keep a lot of my backup gear throughout the world. One thing you guys will notice is I only have 4 elytras in here. And I'll explain to you guys exactly why I don't run with more elytras. Ultimately, I only swap between these 2 elytras, and I never touch these ones over here. I'll show you guys why when we get to a later shulker box. So, starting things off, I've got my channeling trident, and I've got my riptide trident. I don't use these all that often anymore. This, if I ever come across a thunderstorm and I need to get myself any creeper heads, skeleton heads, zombie heads, whatever it may be. But whenever I take out my trident of channeling, I also take out my shield. You guys will notice that I have a Hylian banner shield. So I've got a banner on my shield. I'll show you guys all the recipe on how to make this banner if you guys want to make one yourself. So there it is. Next up, these I use all the time, extremely frequently. These are the silk touch hoe and the fortune hoe. The fortune hoe is extremely good for when I want to get more sticks and more saplings out of bushes. And, well, the silk touch hoe is extremely useful for moss, skulk, leaves, and a plethora of different items. Also, for those of you guys who don't know, a sponge can be picked up with a hoe really, really fast. So that's also why I keep a bunch of sponges in here. That way, if I ever need to get rid of a bunch of water, I can do that. Next up, we have the tickler. This is a little brush. That way, if I ever come across a trail ruin, I could do a little bit of archaeology. The fishing rod. So, well, this guy doesn't get a whole lot of use because as you guys can see here, I've only caught 6 fish and I've got well over 11,000 hours of playtime in this world. But I have the fishing rod nonetheless. Underneath the fishing rod, I have a Ross Walker boots. So people probably, okay, what's the point of having Frostwalker boots? Well, let me show you guys a couple very cool things you could do with Frostwalker boots. So if I just right click to put on my new Frostwalker boots right here, you'll see that, yes, of course, I can walk on water. But everybody knew that already, right? But what I can really do is now I can place moss on water. Hello? So this is extremely handy to have for when you want to do any kind of terraforming throughout your world and you want to put a little bit of moss carpet on water. It doesn't work with regular carpet, but it really comes in handy from time to time. And next up, I feel like everybody knows this, but this is without Frostwalker. I'm going to take damage on magma blocks, but if I put on the Frostwalker, I can now stand on magma blocks, which is very handy for when you're building gold farms. So that is why I have my Frostwalker boots in here at all times. Because yes, they do come in handy. Slow falling potion for if I ever go to the end, pretty self-explanatory. Everybody has to have a mace. I don't use this very often, but at least I have it. I have shears. I use this quite frequently if I ever need to get a bunch of lichen or any kind of resource that requires shears to do so. Then of course I have my fortune axe. This doesn't get a whole lot of use, but if I ever need to get more like books or something, at least I could do that. Then we have the Blaze Buster. So this Blaze Buster is more for my blaze farm for getting a lot of blaze rods, and I can just kill them a little bit quicker with the sharpness. Same thing goes with the Totem of Unstubbing, except this one just doesn't have looting because I don't want to have a bunch of ender pearls, but this guy is made for the Enderman farm. So next up, the exciting part for some of you guys, the redstone box. So I keep just a bunch of different redstone inside my redstone box. We have observers, droppers, dispensers, hoppers, of course. We have the pistons. I just try to keep everything on hand in here. We have unmovable blocks, which are really nice to have. This is just an additional bit. These are really nice to have for when you're building like big piston doors, slime blocks of cores, wax copper bulbs, barrels. I think those coincide with the calibrated sensors. If I want to kind of bring a redstone signal upwards, I could do that with the fence post. Honey blocks, of course. I know a lot of this probably makes sense to you guys. I'm not a redstoner, so I basically just keep a little bit of everything on me. Okay, next, I have the rocket boxes. So I know there's a couple different ways that people like to basically store their rockets. Some people will like to pretty much just have a bunch of paper and a bunch of gunpowder so they can craft rockets on the go. But up here, I actually have an auto crafter set up that basically auto crafts me rockets where I just fill them up from time to time. So we'll just go ahead and do that now because yes, that does mean I go with 4 full shulker boxes of rockets. Now it may seem overkill, but 4 shulker boxes of rockets typically last me about a week where I live stream every day for about 7 hours a day. So this is quite a few rockets right here, but this is what we have so far. This is where I keep my redstone. We have the gear box, immortalized box, and the big digs box. But there's a lot more to go. I always keep 4 empty shulker boxes on the go for whenever I may need them. For looting and scooting, you know. Next up, I have the portals box. This comes in handy all the time. Flint and steel, which I use quite often. Don't use the coarse fruit that much, but if I'm dealing with anything to do with bedrock risks, always have a coarse fruit on me. Glass, for if I need to make a temporary glass platform. Lodestones, which just became a lot cheaper in the most recent update. You can actually craft these with iron ingots rather than netherite ingots, so stop freaking out. I'm not rich. Eyes of Ender, blaze powder. Is that blaze powder? Yeah, that's blaze powder. We got ender pearls. Obviously, don't have a whole lot of that. And then a bunch of compasses that take me all throughout my world. I used to use these a lot when I used to get lost. Takes me to different locations. Some of them labeled, some of them not labeled. But yeah, oh, this is just a random camel I found, which is kind of funny. And 1.17 home. that goes to show you how old this compass is. 1.17. I'm in 1.21.4 right now. And then we have the caving box. The caving box, I keep a bunch of clocks. That way, if I'm ever down in the mines, I could just kind of quickly see what time it is. But this actually comes in handy for my villager trading hall when I know when to trade with villagers. Then we have a backup flint, bunch of torches, the breeze rods if I ever want to be using the wind charge to get around. TNT, very handy to have for when you need it. Frog lights, one chest, don't know why. A water bucket. I need to keep more of these on me. Typically, I'll keep myself some coal and some logs. So let's go quickly do that now. So apparently, I don't have any coal inside my storage room. So I got to come all the way over here at the Witherskelly farm so I can grab myself a little bit of coal. This should have a bunch of coal in it.
Huh?
Nope, these are bones. All right, second time's the charm. These ones should have coal in it, right? Yeah. So we got a bunch of coal here. So I'm just going to grab like 8 stacks of coal so I could make a stack of coal blocks. And by 8 stacks of coal, I meant to say 9. Yeah, I know how to play this game, okay? Listen, I've got a netherite beacon. I don't need this right now. And now I'll just keep the logs and the coal blocks in here. That way I can craft torches for whenever I find a big cave. Which honestly, who doesn't like caving every now and again? Nice to have. Speaking about nice to have, I have all of the dyes and I have a bunch of emeralds over here. So let me explain to you guys exactly why these emeralds are here, because they do serve quite a big purpose. And it just so happens I just had a wandering trader spawn in here somewhere. Now oh, I found him. I see ya. So as you guys can see, my wandering trader looks a little bit different from yours. I could buy myself cool looking micro blocks that I add throughout the world so I can decorate things. But this is where the emeralds really come into handy. Not only did I just buy all these guys, that wasn't that many emeralds. But if I ever find like Podzol, or if I ever want to buy some dye or anything like that, it's really nice to have some emeralds on hand. Up next, we have the builder's box. So the builder box serves the purpose of having my crafting benches, my barrels, my chests, and inside this bundle right here, I have a bunch of different types of tool benches. That way, if I ever need them, I've got them. We have ice and soul sand if I ever need to make a water vader. Signs if I ever need to label anything. All A's if I ever need to breed them up. I could do that with the amethyst shards here. And of course, I've got some ladders. And as you guys can see, the bundles have really helped condense down my shulker boxes in quite a ways, because when you're looking at this, there is a lot more space in here that I can definitely improve upon. And we'll be doing that later in today's video. But for right now, I just want to show you guys exactly what I keep inside my ender chest, and then we'll revamp it all. As for this next 2 boxes here, I'm going to need the villager trading hall so I can fill them all the way up. So I'm going to show you guys exactly where I get all my bottles of enchantment, because I get that question so often. I feel like people don't know you can buy these in normal survival. And then, of course, I need to restock up on all of my food. So over here, I've got a bunch of maxed out clerics. And if you guys go into your clerics inventory here, scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll notice this right here. This is where I get all of my bottles of enchantment. I just come in here and I restock every once in a while. You guys must really love villagers, and definitely don't avoid villagers at all if you didn't know you could buy these. With that being said, make sure you guys are actually utilizing villagers to your advantage, because these guys are absolutely amazing. And yes, I did just walk through that armor stand. And next up, I have my pork chop guys. So pork chops are my preferred food source. I think they are amazing. They give you a little bit more drumsticks over saturation. I feel like drumsticks are more important for hardcore, and the saturation doesn't matter as much. Saturation more for PvP, drumsticks more for survivability, you know what I mean? And we'll just quickly pop our pork chops back into here. Normally, I fill this all the way up, but I won't make you guys wait for me to do that. I just want to quickly throw together and show you guys exactly what I've got going on around here. Plus, I don't want to listen to villagers anymore. But to go over the importance of villagers a little bit more, I've got over 1.8 million villager trades. So yes, I practice what I preach. Next up, we have the beacon box. Pretty self-explanatory. I build a lot of beacons throughout my world. As you guys can see, I've always got some sort of effects going on over here. Normally, I've got all 5, but right now I don't because, well, things are going on above me right now. Then we've got the deep dark box. If I ever come across an ancient city, I can quickly take it down. I have night vision potions. That way I can actually see inside the deep dark because I do not gamma up in the deep dark. I feel like that's a little bit too cheeky. I also have a bunch of green wool. It doesn't matter what color wool, as long as it's wool that you can see in the ancient city. So that guy is going to live right here. And now last but not least, I have these last 4 shulker boxes right here. This is completely jam-packed with micro block heads, just all the way up to the very top. I've got micro block heads for all different occasions. I'm not addicted. You're addicted. But the other ones are kind of empty. Why, I guess they're not empty. Anyways, these guys are going to live right in here on the other side of the deep dark box. So I'm just gonna slap it all in here. Actually, this guy goes right there. This one's typically an empty one. This is for whatever I'm building. I'm building Lord of Dragon Mountain. I'm building a volcano with dragons and stuff. So I like to keep the dragon eggs in a different box. And then I got a bunch of gifts and stuff, badges and whatnot from my Twitch channel. But let's go over a quick little overview of what exactly is in here. So we have the gear box, immortalized box, the big digs, the beacon box. Then we have our food right above the chicken head, so I easily know where it's at. Potions for whenever I need to repair my elytra on the go. And then a couple other potions being fire resistance. I think that's a night vision potion, and that might be a healing potion over there too. I'm not 100% sure. We have the portals box, the builder's box, the dye box that I call Skittles because it's like taste the rainbow, you know? Caving box, all of our redstone, the chicken head, which is integral here. Very important. Always have a chicken head on you. All of the rockets. Over here, I've got just empty boxes. That way I can loot and scoot. We have the deep dark box. And then, of course, all of the micro blocks. You guys won't need these. You might want to have this, the deep dark box. The rockets. I think those are pretty self-explanatory. I think they're very useful to have. Redstone box. I have 3 of them. You could probably condense that down into maybe 2 if you really wanted to. Every other box here, I think, is very important to have. But let's get into the other half of today's video, and let's completely revamp this entire Ender chest loadout with a bunch of bundles in mind and all of the new update stuff. And yes, my storage room is also a slime farm, not by choice. So I went ahead and I've grabbed myself a bunch of very crucial items that I think that everybody should hold inside their Ender chest. First off, I've gone ahead and made an absolute ton of bundles. So some of this is going to be utilized for condensing our Ender chest, but for the most part, a lot of these are going to be for additional storage along the way. I also have 3 stacks of Ender pearls here. Very important thing here, the lava bucket, empty buckets, just because I can actually stack 16 of these, and a powdered snow bucket just in case. I've made some stone cutters because I didn't have any stone cutters to coincide with our crafting benches. Scaffolding because, believe it or not, scaffolding does come handy every now and again. Even though I'm never really using scaffold, I like to actually use main blocks to scaffold around with. We got ourselves some sea pickles. Sea pickles are really nice if you ever need to light up an area underwater. Wolf armor, just in case I ever need any. A book and quill if I ever need to write anything down. Lightning rods, extremely handy for when you're building something that's very flammable and you're in the middle of a lightning storm. You might want to plop these around, especially where villager breeders are located or villager trading halls. Unless you want to turn your entire villager hall into a bunch of witches. I have candles. I actually use candles quite frequently. Lichen. I always wish I have lichen on me, but I never do. A bunch of saddles. That way I could basically take any skeleton horses if I ever have any thunderstorms or any other really cool horses along the way. And of course, a bunch of breeze rods. In addition to grabbing all the new items that we're going to be incorporating into our ender chest, I have fully stocked up on every single item in my ender chest. So I'll just quickly scroll over each and every one of these so you guys can get a little bit of a closer look of what I typically keep on hand. The potions we'll take a little bit of a closer look at a little bit later. Portals, everything remains basically the exact same with a few additional items here and there that I don't think require any further explanation. I have my 4 boxes of rockets. I have my 3 boxes of redstone. The caving box is a little bit more organized with a few additional items. I have the 4 empty boxes for on the go. Our deep dark box is now fully stocked up. And of course, all the micro blocks. But let's take a little closer look at our potion box here. So let's plop this guy down and let's see exactly what we're dealing with. So you guys will see that I have a lot of bottles of enchantment. I use these every single day to repair up all of my elytras. Typically, it takes about 16 XP potions to fully repair an entire elytra. So 1 stack of XP potions will actually last me almost a week, depending on how much flying I'm doing. Then I have all of the water breathing potions. That way, if I ever come across a monument and I want to take it down, I can easily do so. Instant damage potions if I ever need to fully heal up an undead mob. And then of course, instant healing potions for the exact opposite effect if I ever need to heal up an alive mob. So for example, skeletons if I ever got a full diamond skeleton, or if I ever wanted to try and keep like a fox alive, for instance, or villagers for when you accidentally hit them. That comes in handy. Then I have my feather falling or slow falling potions right here that I just splash mobs with. It's really nice for transporting. And of course, the fire res. And I always have a fire res right here as well. So now, time to incorporate all of these items into our pre-existing ender chest loadout. Now that's one jam-packed ender chest. So hopefully some of you guys found this video very helpful. I know when it comes down to ender chest, I feel like it is a very daunting process and I never know what to put inside of it. So if this video helped you guys, please consider leaving a like. Consider subscribing if you guys want to see some more. I do come out with hardcore content every single Saturday, so hopefully I'll see you guys in the future. But until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one.